Hello. Welcome back to Art Breaks with Jan. Really glad you're here. I'm going to switch to sharing screen so we can go ahead and get started. Great. So just a reminder that we are here for about 10 minutes to give our mind a break, to let us think outside the walls of our quarantine, to lift up our attention from the endeavors in front of us, the concerns or the work in front of us, and just take a 10-minute reset. Think about something other that's outside of ourselves that took intentionality and creativity and skill. So welcome to an art break. And today we're going to look at an artist who at this period in his career was trying something so new that initially critics didn't like it. And they gave him a mean nickname, calling him an artist who painted like this, the Fauves. And the movement was Fauvism, which in French means the wild beasts or the wild savages. So today, welcome, we're gonna start with this painting. And I'm gonna time us for 1 minute. And I'm gonna ask you to just carefully look. Let your eye roam over this painting. Take in as many details as possible. Make a mental list of what you're seeing. Colors, shapes, textures, lines. We're gonna just silently let your eye roam and make a list of what you're seeing. We're not interpreting or analyzing. We're just collecting our observations. We're about halfway through our minute. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Now, if we were live, I would ask you to open up your chat section and tell me what you're seeing. But we're not live, so I'm going to imagine. I'm going to imagine what you all and what we all are noticing, so we have this kind of collection to move forward as we look deeper into this painting. So I imagine some of us are saying, okay, this is a window, I think. There's some panels or shutters. I see a lot of colors. I see pinks and salmons and teals and blues. I think there's boats right in the middle. I think that's what those objects are. I see, looks like 3 potted plants at the bottom. I see a lot of green, maybe ivy, some sort of a live plant. I see 2 windows maybe up above. And I just see a lot of texture and splotches. It's not super clear. Now I also imagine that some of us are saying, I don't know where I am or actually what I'm looking at. This isn't recognizable to me and I'm not super comfortable with it. And that's okay, because that is what we're seeing on this first round. So let's go and look a little deeper. Oh, I just wanted to tell you that the wild beasts or wild savages, that's fauve. It's a French word. I just wanted to show it to us in case it's a new word for some of us. Fauvists would be the painters who painted in this style, and the movement is Fauvism. Just so we can all learn a new word today. Okay, we are looking at a painting by Matisse, and it's called Open Window, Collioure. And Collioure is a real place in the south of France on the Mediterranean. And this is a photo inside Matisse's apartment where he painted. So ta-da, we can really see what he's painting compared to what he's seen in that apartment right there back in 1905. So I did want to talk to you just a little bit about the idea of an open window, because Matisse is being a little sassy here. He's very innovative, think outside the box type of a painter. If you look at his earlier works, it's going to look different than what you see here in this pink open window. But what's going on right here is he's being a little sassy with the idea of painting an open window as the painting itself, because comparing a painting to a window has been a conventional trope in art since the Renaissance. But here he's being a little sassy because now he's not comparing it. It just is. It is the painting. And it's showing he's willing to take a little new direction and moving toward modern art. And also the open window is an invitation to look into the distance. And so that's kind of fun to think as Matisse is kind of pivoting a little as we move. Well, what came right before this movement were the Impressionists. And so that is the little splotchy paint, but you really recognize what you're seeing, and maybe the colors made a little bit more sense. So this is a departure even more from Impressionism. Okay, so let's talk about Fauvism. And there's two main parts I really want us to think about that stand out to me. One is the painterly quality, and the other is color. The just love of color and experimentation with color. So the painterly quality is when you can see the hand of the artist and you can see the brushstroke work or the palette work. Some of these, where I zoomed in, I tried to show that texture, and there's a real gloppy or built up quality to some of that paint. And that's called impasto. It's an Italian word for paste. And what's interesting about when the paint is this thick like this, it actually has a three-dimensional quality. So it's going to pick up light and reflection even differently than a very smooth, flat, two-dimensional surface. So he is painting in a very painterly way, which means you can see his hand, you can see the artist's movement in this, and you see the brush strokes and you see the palette knife swoops. So then another thing I want us to think about with the Fauvism movement is color. And these artists, they cared more about color than like what it would look like in real life. Because when I think of looking out a window onto a bay, this is not the color I see, but that's not what Matisse is concerned with at all. And so what you actually see in here is he's organizing this painting with a lot of pairs of complements. So that's why I just reminded us of the color wheel and what some of those complementary pairs might look like. And what's fun is I actually think with these pairs and these contrasts, I just find my eye moves and dances around this painting, trying to catch all of those colors and just bouncing back and forth between them. Okay, I want to show you more of what this place is like and show you when Matisse is looking down at the bay, you see this on the left, you see him. This is what he sees from that window we looked at. Now, he had a friend who was also in the Fauvism movement, and his name was André Derain, and they spent some time together painting in Coulieu. And so this is Derain here on the right side of the screen, and look, we can see the complementary colors, and we can see the painterly quality. We can see all of those brush strokes. And he actually is like, if where he's painting is, his back is to the bay, and he's painting up that mountain. So I just think it's fun to actually see the real place and to see another Fauvis painter painting here with Matisse. As Matisse moves forward, he loves color and he still experiments with color. And toward the end of his life, I wanted to show you, here he is, he's older, he's infirm, he's in a wheelchair, he has an assistant, you can barely see her little knees off to the left of that painting there. But he's working with an assistant because he needs help, but he's still creating and he's still working hard and he's still thinking outside the box. And this is his period that we call the cutouts, because he was painting color and cutting it out and making big murals. And so we have here the Beasts of the Sea on the right, which is something that the National Gallery of Art in DC has. And then below here, I put the measurements because this big mural is 32 feet long. It's huge. It's called Large Decoration with Masks. And we have it at the National Gallery. And what's really fun is for preservation's sake, to help with having the papers not fade and care for them properly, these two works of art and some others are in a special room in the East Building of the National Gallery, and it's very dimly lit. It's kind of darker in that room, and it actually has doors that close like in Mission Impossible. They close and seal it off from all light when the gallery's not open. That specific gallery room isn't open because we only have it open in the middle hours of the gallery's opening. So maybe it's like from 10 to 2 or 10 to 3, I'm not exactly sure, because they just don't want light to damage these works of art. And so they're in a special darker room. It's huge because it has to be to contain this, but I just think it's kind of fun that it's in this special room that has these closing doors. But I just wanted us to see Matisse moving and experimenting with color and with material as he moved toward the end of his career. I want to go back here now to our painting, Matisse's Open Window. And I'm going to set my timer for 30 seconds because I just want to make sure that we're all comfortable. Take a few good deep breaths, and let's just let our eye take this in again. Maybe circle back to something you saw the first time, find something new. Look for texture if you didn't see it the first time. Just enjoy and take this in. Okay. So my invitation for us today is to celebrate joy and creativity and playfulness and even silliness. So as we're into however many weeks and months of quarantine, whether we're alone and we just connect with people out and about with our masks on at the grocery store, or whether we're with just a few people in our space, however we're doing quarantine, the people we're connected with, I just encourage us to make each other smile and giggle today. Just in light of what we've seen and this fun experimenting with color, it just makes me think of playfulness and cheerfulness and delight. And so I challenge us to make the people we're quarantining with chuckle or smile today, tease them, do something a little unexpected or unusual, just to bring some cheer and color and something different into your day. So thank you so much for joining me for an art break, and I hope you'll come back for more. Thank you. Bye-bye.